In case you missed it, here's Dave and Cheryl's favorite moments of the week.
How was your weekend?
It was great. I was out at Parks Blueberries on Saturday. Great food. They're now open for the season, 7 days a week. So that was fantastic to see, and they were pretty busy there at lunch. And then I had a busy night Saturday night. I had two close friends. It was their birthdays on Saturday. So I went out for dinner at Mama Maria's for one.
Gatherings? People?
Yeah, there was all 6 of us. It was
Is that still
crazy.
a thing?
I think, and one of my friends was like, this is the first time I've eaten out at a restaurant in like 2 years. And then my other friend, they were having like sort of a small gathering at a friend's house. We were sort of like outside in they have like a heated shed area workspace. So it was there. So then it was a late night. I didn't get home till after midnight. And then my dog still woke me up at 7 a.m. because, the sun's out.
Routine.
Yeah. But the weather was beautiful yesterday, too. So, it was great. I was cooking in the kitchen, had the door outside open so the dog could run in and out. But
yeah, that wind was a bit much, but boy, it was nice yesterday. I was down and out Saturday. I had a shingles vaccine on Friday. The Rolling Stones are right. What a drag it is to get old, man. So that knocked me down for a loop. The second shot all day Saturday. I was just tired and achy and lethargic and just not feeling 100%.
But now you're good?
No, I'm good. I was better Sunday. I was still a little bit tired, but I still got out for a run with the dog. I just had to. It was just too nice, even though that wind. Whew, going down Grand Avenue, we were running into the midst of it. And then there were parts where we went through Pistancia and it was right at our back. And the best way I can describe it, it was so strong, it was like running downhill. But it was nice to get out. Boy, that breeze was nice overall.
Yeah.
Being able to open some windows.
We made sure to go for a walk with the dog. I think we went down Victoria. It was a little more protected from the wind. And it was great weather. Lots of other people out walking, too. It was so nice to see so many people out. People with the windows rolled down on their cars, driving around.
It's just nice to have that. It's
like our first fake spring. Is that what it is? The first fake spring where you think it's nice?
Freezing rain warning in effect for today, right? So complete details of your forecast coming up in a moment. Oh, and I got a full tank of gas because my car just celebrated its adoption date the other day.
Happy gotcha day to your Honda.
Went out and got myself a full tank of gas, and it made me think of this.
From deep inside Earth's most inaccessible places comes the most treasured gift on Earth. Don't give her diamonds or gold. This year, fill up her tank with gasoline. Millions of years in the making, and this precious commodity will pump her with desire. Show her you love her by topping off her tank with this precious clear fluid with dazzling amber glow. Ignite her passion and fuel her love. De Beers Premium Gasolines.
All jokes aside, wow. Gas, my goodness.
Oh, I saw a great video of someone, they literally pumped it, and it was like, that's $20 right there. Yeah. That's what it feels like. I mean, what are we up to, 184 this morning, I saw?
Just remember, don't take it out on the people behind the counter, because I saw some posts about that over the weekend, too.
Oh.
Well, we came across this, and it made us just feel a little bit nostalgic, because it's a list of things you've forgotten you used to do probably on a regular basis.
Yeah, a lot of them have to do with, old flip phones, old cell phones. Remember when you'd have to push a button 7 times just to get the character you wanted? Well, typing a text.
And texting just seemed so laborious. Like it would take so long to do it when you were trying to do it that way.
Remember that, what was it, like T9 where it would try to do the predictive text? Like that made it a little bit easier, but it was still tough.
How about this? Changing the TV to channel 3 in order to watch the VCR.
Oh, man.
Well, is it on channel 3 or is it 3 or 4? Like you can never seem to remember.
Is it 2? And now it's like you gotta just hit the input button, right? Sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
How about having to clean the mouse ball out on your mouse?
Oh, yeah. Do you remember that? How they were...
Your computer mouse? Or you go to use it and you flip it over and the ball's gone? And you're like, who took the ball?
Or it would just be jammed up with people's
Lint.
hair and stuff. Oh, gross.
Mm-hmm.
Telling everyone to call you after 9 so you don't use up all your cell phone minutes. Well, I'd like to add to that. Don't call anyone until after 11. Long distance.
For long distance.
It was cheaper after 11 or at least after 7 p.m. Do you remember those plans where you could get a little bit cheaper?
Mm-hmm. Or you dial you remember having the phone cards that would give you a cheaper rate on long distance rates. Now, like, I got Canada-wide calling, it's fine. Or you just FaceTime someone when they're in a different country as long as they have Wi-Fi.
Well, and it's also why people never change their phone numbers now. Mm-hmm. Right? So you see that often where people will, give their phone number. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, but most plans now, you have unlimited Canada-wide calling or texting, so it didn't really matter.
Carrying around a cell phone and an MP3 player.
Now, because you didn't have a magical thing that did both. Not like today. Mm-hmm. Remember having to get up to switch the videotape to watch the second half of Titanic?
That wasn't the only one. There was a couple of movies I know that were pretty long, so you had to keep changing them over.
I just remember Titanic was the big one, though.
Mm-hmm. Typing www before every website. I remember years ago, we were just, the internet really is like our website was just getting going. And there was a lady that called, and she was adorable. She was older, and God bless her, she was trying. And I was trying to explain to her how to get to country929.com. Mm-hmm. And I just remember her saying, do I need all 3 W's? And I was like, in a day and age where some people stick their head in the sand and don't want to embrace anything new, she was at least trying.
Yeah.
Making an effort.
I know, because now really you just type in whatever it is. Half the time it comes up. Like, oh, did you mean this? Yeah, it's close enough. Remember eagerly anticipating having to get home to log onto your desktop computer or your laptop to see who had written you on Facebook?
Yeah, because it wasn't on your phone.
Wasn't on your cell phone.
Yeah,
I remember when we first got Facebook here, they had it blocked because they just didn't want people wasting time on their work computers. So there was one computer in the whole building to access Facebook on.
Yeah, and there were 2 mice inside that powered it up. They ran on a little belt.
Oh my God, it was the slowest computer ever. It was
I'm pretty
so
sure the
bad.
lights dimmed all down up and down Kyle Drive whenever we fired up that computer.
Yeah, but now, right? Like they're like, well, now we have to be on Facebook for we have our CFCO Facebook page and Twitter account. And
how about this? Remember when you had to use a TV to watch TV? Don't have to do that anymore, right? You can use an iPad. You can use your phone. Actually,
wasn't it your daughter that
yes.
was talking about watching on the phone? She was making fun of you for something.
Well, she said that, you watch TV all the time. I said, coming from the girl who literally sat on the back deck and watched all the episodes of The Office on your phone. Well, it's not the same. I said the delivery might be different, but it's still the same. And how the world has changed, right? Or having to rush home. Another one, you want to be home by a specific time because you needed to see this week's episode of Friends.
Yeah, or you had to set the timer on your VCR. And you had to make sure that if the power went out, you were done for, right? Because then it would reset everything.
And it just messed everything up.
Oh, the other thing I was just thinking of, having appointment television. My nephews get angry at commercials now. They're like, "Where's the show?" And I'm like, because they don't. If we're watching regular TV, they're so used to watching shows on Netflix or streaming.
Or just one after the other after the other.
Yeah, that they're not used to having commercials in the middle of the show. Like, what happened to the show I was watching? Well, it's commercial.
Over the years, maybe when you were a kid, you scraped your knee, your elbow. Your mom probably grabbed rubbing alcohol, but science says now that might not be the greatest thing to use.
When I was a kid, I still use that on cuts and stuff. But apparently an ER doctor who writes for USA Today's health section just did this big write-up on one of the biggest first aid myths that he sees. And he says you should not actually be using hydrogen peroxide to clean cuts. Same goes for rubbing alcohol, because he says, it is something people used to do and a lot still, because yes, it does kill the bacteria, but it also kills the good skin cells. He said both hydrogen peroxide and rubbing alcohol both cause corrosive tissue damage, which can actually slow down the healing process and make scars more likely.
Yes, but wasn't there a football movie where chicks dig scars? Glory lasts forever. Keanu Reeves, you remember?
Yes, the replacements.
Well, instead he says to rinse your cut with water, then just put some, little triple antibiotic ointment on there instead of using rubbing alcohol. I remember getting so many cuts over the years. I was a pretty busy kid, and I would cut myself often. Scrapes. It was rubbing alcohol that my mom used.
Yeah.
That sting. You get that sting. It feels like it's doing something.
Oh, not really. Was it the isopropyl alcohol? So not as strong. So like the little bit further down. Mm-hmm. That's what I usually use.
Iodine?
I still use it. I still have a bottle at home.
I remember my mom using iodine too, right? Because the brown color.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So apparently you're not supposed to do that. Probably you still will, but I'm just saying. Have you been getting a lot of telemarketing type calls or scam calls lately? Because, man, I swear, about 7 or 8 of them yesterday.
They must be at the P's in the list because I haven't been getting any recently, but I know my parents were getting a bunch. My mom mentioned that the other day. And you said you got, what, like 8, 9 yesterday?
I don't know how many. They just kept coming and coming, and they spoof the numbers, right? And then say one was Service Canada, one was Border, one was RCMP. The sheriff is looking for you.
I love
that
those.
kind of deal, right? Well, a guy in Austin, Texas, his name is Dan Graham, and he was sick of getting so many calls from telemarketers, so he's decided to do something about it.
He works as a financial consultant, and so he says, just ignoring them isn't really an option because he gets calls from all over the place, and he had to answer them all the time. He tried adding his number to the do not call list. He filed complaints with the Better Business Bureau, but that didn't do any good. So last April, he sued one of the companies that kept calling him, and he won.
I would keep them on the line, find out what company was behind them or paying or what company I would get connected to. The hope is that there's enough of us who stand up, start pushing back, that it becomes more expensive for companies to negligently hire these telemarketers and then the benefit they receive from it.
So technically they settled, and they had to because he was able to prove that they were violating something in the U.S. called the Federal Telephone Consumer Protection Act.
And I love that he just kept going. He didn't just stop at one company. He's kept it up for about a year. He's filed more than 50 lawsuits and made $75,000 in settlements. And the best part is that a lot of these companies didn't even know this was happening. They use outside contractors for their marketing. And once they found out, they've now stopped. So his hard work is paying off and is helping other people.
I'm making a bit of a face right now that you can't see. They didn't know this was happening. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Well, or you tell them to call people and, to keep their quotas up. They're cold calling to me while they're like, no, only call these people on this list.
So he says around 10 of the companies he sued have now changed their marketing strategy, and they aren't calling random people any longer. Now, I don't know if you can do the same sort of thing in Canada. However,
I know we have that do not call list here, but
it's useless.
It's useless.
Because you sign up sometimes with certain companies, especially I think online companies, that turn around, and if you don't read the fine print about how, well, we can sell your name or number or whatever.
But the issue now is it's not companies calling you. It's scammers.
Oh, now
it's just
that's
individual scammers that
absolutely
are calling you.
Yeah, that's the bigger thing. And that wouldn't be effective in this case because they're a lot of times housed overseas.
And they're not connected to a company, so you can't go after anybody.
Yeah, trying to crack down as one person, no, that definitely has to be RCMP and more getting involved. Now, of course, when your dog hears you talk, their ears perk up, but are they really able to recognize your voice?
Well, according to some fascinating new research out of Hungary, the answer is yes. Scientists had human owners hide behind one of 2 large blocks, and then they had a complete stranger hide behind the other. Then they had the owners speak to the dog while the strangers simultaneously did the same thing. So they were saying the same thing. And the dogs were able to correctly identify their owner's voice 82% of the time.
But yet sometimes my dog decides whether she's going to come back in the house or not, depending upon if there is a squirrel or a bunny nearby.
Oh, selective hearing. The number of times I'm standing out, yelling at my dog to come inside as there's like snow blowing in the door because he's just like, no, I'm happy out here right now in the yard.
We've learned about 90% of the time the word treat will work. And then maybe I give her a piece or 2 of her food, but...
I use cookie. You want a cookie? And rustling bags a lot to get the dogs back in.
Researchers, another dog story, concluded using dogs or cats in ads makes people more likely to buy a product.
I believe that.
Yeah, they looked at consumers' decision-making skills when viewing ads and found that people are more likely to take more risks, such as, a stock option or bet more money when ads feature a dog or cat as the spokesperson. The study author said these effects occur because our pet exposure experiences remind us of, behaviors of pets and maybe remind you of your own animals too, I'm sure.
Or maybe one that you grew up with. Mm-hmm. And finally, have you ever seen a green dog? A couple in Nova Scotia say their bulldog recently gave birth to 8 puppies, and the last one that came out had green fur.
Just in time for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. So the rare discoloration has been documented before. It's believed to be caused by a light-colored puppy coming in contact with green pigments in the bile in the womb.
Now, the family notes in a Facebook post that the puppy's green coloring has already started to fade. Experts say it'll continue to fade in the coming weeks until it's completely gone.
Now, to answer your original question, have I ever seen a green dog? Yes. Every time I mow the lawn for the first few times in the spring when it's wet, and our golden retriever decides to roll around in said grass. You ever seen a green retriever? Because I have. Are you a big fan of ranch dressing?
You know what? When I was younger, loved it, right? But more so for dipping than using as a salad dressing.
Well, it is Ranch Dressing Day today. Did you know that Hidden Valley Ranch was an actual place? A guy by the name of Steve Henson invented ranch dressing in the 50s by mixing buttermilk with different herbs and spices. He perfected it while living at a place called Hidden Valley Ranch near Santa Barbara, California. And for the first few years, you could only order it through the mail.
I did know that because I'm weird and like to listen to podcasts about food. And they did a whole one about ranch and Hidden Valley Ranch.
I was going to say, I like to listen to podcasts about salad. Oh, sounds exciting.
The Chicago Tribune actually ranked the best ranch dressings a little while back. Hidden Valley got put at number 1, but in a different ranking done by professional taste testers, they claim that Ken's ranch dressing is actually better for things like dipping, fries or vegetables in.
8% of ranch dressing is used on burgers. 36% think cold pizza dipped in ranch sounds good. 20% have mixed ranch with salsa before.
What?
Wonder what that would be like. Just the look of it I don't know if that would be great.
No, but I mix salsa and sour cream all the time. I love that.
So you might love this.
Ranch, I have to give that one a shot.
Possibilities.
Now, ranch is the best-selling salad dressing in the U.S. and has been since 1992, but Hidden Valley says only 30% of the dressing they sell is actually used on a salad. The other 70% people are buying it for dipping things into, whether it's, pizza, vegetables.
Wings. Stuff like that. I know I'll have to ask my youngest because we always had to have a bottle of ranch in the fridge when she was younger. I don't know if she's still a ranch fan or if she got to the point of full ranch saturation. Happy National Ranch Dressing Day today. Did you know there may be some very unhealthy things in your freezer right now, according to a nutritionist?
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Well,
whatever am I going to do but eat them?
People, of course, right now with inflation are probably looking for ways to save money. Eating the stuff in your freezer is probably a good option, but there's probably some unhealthy things hiding in there, like TV dinners. That's because they're pretty light on vegetables and can be loaded with salt. So look for low sodium versions that are packed with lots of veggies.
I mean, they've gotten better over the years compared to the old ones, where Salisbury steak was I don't quite know what that was.
I think it was half salt.
And half hockey puck, too. Frozen pizzas, most of them they say are loaded with salt and saturated fat. In general, thin crust is better than thicker crust. And you should try and, have ones that are more veggie instead of loaded with pepperoni and sausage. No, thank you. Hot Pockets and pizza rolls also made that list, too.
I'll pass on the veggies on my pizza. Thank you very much. Sometimes when you're in a hurry, though, that frozen pizza is just, you don't deal with the screaming kids and throw one in the oven.
Right, and it gets you through a meal.
Have you ever done this with your kids? You throw a frozen pot pie in?
Oh, yeah.
Well, they taste good for a reason. They're one of the highest calorie and highest fat options in the freezer aisle.
We would do frozen pot pies and French fries sometimes when the kids were little.
Well, French fries are also on the list.
Yeah.
They say they're not much better for you than the ones you get at McDonald's.
Corn dogs made the list too. Well, I mean, if you're eating a corn dog, you're at a fair, I don't think you're necessarily thinking, well, I'm making a healthy, great choice today.
No, because you're probably washing it down with deep fried butter on a stick too.
Sweet and sour chicken because there's a ton of added sugar into it.
And another unhealthy thing in your freezer, those frozen toaster pastries. Yeah, Pillsbury toaster strudels are basically just straight sugar. But
well, Jim Gaffigan makes a great point, even just with pancakes in general, right? That we were convinced that eating a cake for breakfast was a great idea and a great option choice.
Or cinnamon rolls or Eggo waffles, and then you cover them in syrup. Yeah, great. Super healthy option to start your day.
At the same time, they're so delicious.
You've been listening to Dave and Cheryl's Favorite Moments of the Week.